Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for. We are sorry for the delay. There have been issues of national concern, and mediation is still going on. And these were some of the issues, some of the reasons for our delay. So we were addressing some of those issues. So we're sorry for the delay, and the coalition spokesperson, Honorable Halifa Sallah, will now give a statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. However, his term had expired. The coalition emphasized to him that when his term expires, the Constitution makes it mandatory for President-elect Adama Barrow to be elected, to assume office. Who is elected to assume office? The inauguration committee continued to prepare for the inauguration at the National Stadium, and over 1,000 transports would have come from all over the country, bringing people to grace the occasion. All the ECOWAS heads of state and many other heads of state and government all over the world had planned to witness the historic occasion or send envoy. Many Gambians abroad and visitors requested for invitation to join in the commemoration. Journalists from all over the world sought accreditation to cover the transfer of executive power. Gambia was poised to witness the largest gathering of foreign dignitaries that the country has ever known, to witness the transfer of executive power from an incumbent president to the incoming president for the first time in the history of this country. The preparation for the inauguration at the stadium was in full force by the time the high-level delegation, ECOWAS delegation, chose to travel with President-elect Barrow to Mali for further negotiation. ECOWAS heads of state met with President-elect Barrow and continued their mediation efforts, while the mediation also had the fundamental objective of ensuring that the dictates of the Gambian Constitution is respected. On the other hand, the loser did also file an injunction so that the inauguration would not take place. The court processes were stalled. Neither the process dealing with the election petition nor the one dealing with the injunction could be heard, because the judge had to recuse from the case because he was made a party to the injunction. Hence, the government could not stop President-elect Barrow from being inaugurated on the 19th of January 27 by relying on the decision of a court. On the 17th of January, precisely 2 days before the inauguration, the outgoing president decided to declare a state of emergency under Section 34 of the Constitution. Section 34 empowers the president, and that is, he may at any time make a proclamation published in the Gazette to declare that a state of public emergency exists in the whole or any part of the Gambia, or a situation exists which, if it is allowed to continue, may lead to a state of public emergency. They relied on Section B, which deals with if a situation exists which, if it allowed to continue, may lead to a state of public emergency. As far as the coalition is concerned, when he unconstitutionally declared an annulment of the election, as well as to call for fresh election, the coalition did not go in the streets because the coalition was confident that it has passed the stage of being a protest movement, that it was a government in the waiting and must wait for its day to assume office. So there was no threat to the security of the country. And since then, joyously, the supporters of the coalition were actually preparing for inauguration. So the declaration of a state of emergency exists only because of the creation of that condition by the incumbent. It is important to bear in mind that yes, he is empowered to declare emergency which lasts for 7 days if the National Assembly is not sitting, and 21 days if the National Assembly is sitting. Then it is left to the National Assembly to actually deal with the issue of prolongation of a state of state of emergency. So it states under Section 99 that the National Assembly, the incumbent, is trying through the National Assembly to extend his term beyond the original term which ended today, and consequently should have decided to hand over power in peace. And President-elect Barrow considers himself to have acquired the right to be the President of the Republic and who should assume office on the 19th. It is very inauguration that should have taken place at the National Stadium will not be taking place as planned. And all those who are supporters of the coalition are being asked to prepare themselves for the commemoration, the celebration that will eventually take place when President-elect Barrow actually is in the State House. At this very moment, in the Gambia, is a situation where the Gambian people had decided to take charge of their destiny and had gone to the polls, hotly contested elections, and had decided to accept the results of the elections. But the leader who conceded defeat and became a loser has decided to turn the cards, resorted to the courts, and where difficulty exists in the courts, decided to look for other ways of circumventing the courts in order to enlarge a power that is not elected, whilst the power that is elected is deprived from assuming office. That is absurd. And consequently, we are calling on the outgoing president to accept the dictate, the verdict of the people, the verdict. This is what all Gambians subscribe to. And this is what all Gambians expected their leaders to respect. The clear position is that the president-elect should assume office on the 19th, and the court case should have been allowed to continue. And when the court decides, then the verdict of the court will be respected. But to circumvent the verdicts of courts is calling on the incumbent to accept the results as he did and allow the courts to proceed and the incumbent to be sworn in as the president of the Gambia. There are many developments taking place. Gambians today, after the declaration of a state of emergency, decided to stay in their homes. Shops are closing. Those who live in the upcountry are getting into buses and going. Some have even found their way outside of the country. There is in the social media a threat that war is about to happen. But it is important for all Gambians to know that the reason why the coalition went into an electoral contest where it was disadvantaged is because it does not want to go to power stepping on dead bodies, looking at destroyed properties, looking at blood flowing like a river. The Gambian people do not deserve that. And as a result, we are calling on all Gambians, civil or military, to ensure that we remain united as a nation, irrespective of our ethno-linguistic diversity. Gambia a new start. What can make that possible is for the incumbent to concede and transfer power as dictated by the Constitution. There has been no threat from the coalition of the security and safety of the incumbent. Rather, he's been given assurance by word, by letter, that he will be treated like the ex-president of the Republic, ex-president Jammeh, and will have the same privileges and rights as an ex-president. There is no threat to any civil servant, anybody in the security apparatus. What is asserted is that the rights of all will be respected and prejudices will not give rise to government decisions. The rule of law, good governance, human rights will be observed, and democracy will thrive. And the Gambian people, the media, will enjoy a leash of life where they will become the voices of the people, amplified for government to become sensitive and responsive to the vital needs and aspirations of the Gambian people. So the new government is not threatening anyone, but is designed to give Gambia a new start. That is why the person who is elected was elected on an independent ticket, so that he will not be a party president. The fundamental objective of the coalition was to separate party and state and ensure that the people actually own power, and from henceforth will know that they have power to elect and power to remove. We hope the incumbent will save the Gambia from civil strife, from bloodshed, by conceding defeat as he did when the results were first declared. Forward ever, backward never. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Halifa Saleh. We now invite questions from members of the press.
My name is Anisana from Korea newspaper. I want to know what is next for the Gambia after Baga's liberation. Does that mean that they are president?
Well, what has been very evident in the Gambia is two presidencies, an outgoing president and an incoming president. What still exists is an outgoing president who is finding every means to stay, an incoming president who has every right to come to office. So you have a state of conflict which has to be resolved. We are saying the incumbent should concede so that the conflict will be resolved peacefully. And we are taking every initiative to work towards that objective. And the coalition will not be found wanting in ensuring that justice prevails, and that justice is give due right to the person who it is due. And that is President-elect Barrow, who has gone to the polls under very difficult circumstances and won an election against an incumbent. That itself should have been an incentive to the incumbent to surrender power. that you control all the machinery of government and you are still defeated, that person should concede. That is what is moral, that is what is just, that is what is reasonable, and that is what is expected.
What are you telling your supporters to do from midnight tonight when Jammeh's mandate expires? And also, are you aware of reports that Senegalese troops are already inside Gambia and making their way towards Banjul? And if you are, how do you feel about that?
Well, I know that all of us here do not feel any threat. We are definitely at peace. None of the coalition leadership, other than those who accompanied President-elect Barrow, and that exit was with the know of the incumbent, and it was done in good faith, but ultimately the mediation seems to have fallen to pieces, and it seems that they are pursuing another plan. But we are sure that still no one has been killed, and we are sure that if we as Gambians become united to do and cancel what is right, within these very hours, the situation can change tremendously to be a matter decided upon by Gambians. We are working to the best of our ability to see that that happens. So we do not feel any threat.
You're confirming the troop presence?
Well, I'm simply saying that you are not threatened, we are not threatened. So I don't know what troops are meant to do. If troops are coming to fight, that is what I'm saying, that we have not seen any evidence of a threat from the coalition.
But you don't know whether there are or aren't troops already inside Gambia?
Well, you know, the equation is not entirely under our control. The coalition has said, if Gambians refuse to take charge of their destiny, others will take charge of their destiny for them. That's what we have said. And we are still cautioning Gambians. Take charge of your destiny, or you lose it, others will take charge of it for you. That is our message.
Will the president-elect be inaugurated in Senegal tomorrow?
Well, the president-elect is a Gambian, and I'm sure whatever plan they may have, that president-elect will be sworn in the Gambia. So the situation is, we, as a coalition, were informed by the ECOWAS mission that they were leaving, so that mediation will continue. But when mediation fails, anything should be expected. And we have told you that.
But he's not being sworn in tomorrow in Gambia.
Well, President-elect must be sworn in tomorrow. How can he be sworn in at any time? 19 is the declaration of swearing in of President-elect Barrow. So whatever any inauguration committee arranges anywhere, it must be something that is done on the 19th.
Can you tell us if it will be in Banjul?
Yes.
Well, I don't know what we mean by Banjul. We use Banjul as a generic term. So we are saying that he will be inaugurated in the Gambia. We cannot understand where he could be inaugurated other than the Gambia. Because he's the president of the Gambia.
Once he's inaugurated, will he be able to run the government from the Gambia?
He has to be able to run a government. And that is why we are saying we are working very hard to see that by the 19th, Gambians who should transfer power will do so.
Do you still hold that hope?
But in the absence of that happening, we are saying that Gambia is no longer Gambia as we know it, but Gambia which will listen to the dictates of others, neighbors, the Security Council, or the external institutions. That is already evident. So we are saying that the president who is now the incumbent should understand the circumstances that we are in. What will he be able to do if all the presidents of the world decide to recognize President-elect Barrow?
Is that going to happen?
Well, we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow.
Well, Gambia High Commission in Dakar is within the territory of the Gambia. Does this mean that Barrow can be inaugurated, can be sworn in Senegal?
Well, I don't think you want me to engage in speculation. I'm here to give you facts. So I've given you facts as I know them. And if I know anything new, I will be more than willing to give it to you.
Who will accompany him tomorrow when coming?
Well, I think it is evident that President-elect Barrow should have been inaugurated at the stadium. So if he is not inaugurated at the stadium, then it is something that is not necessarily a normal situation. And that abnormal situation is not something that I am privy to. But what is evident is that he has not conceded that he will not be inaugurated on the 19th because his right is to be inaugurated. And he will not accept anybody to abrogate that right. That is his position.
So is it not a disappointment for your supporters to be kept in the dark regarding what's going on? When is the leader going to
I believe our supporters were more aware than even us about the dangers that will follow the victory. They've always talked about it. Some even did not vote because they felt that you cannot remove the incumbent. But it is very evident that there was a battle here whether a coalition could be credible and win an election. So that battle of credibility has been won. So what is important now is for those supporters to know that they have won victory, and President-elect Barrow is telling them that the victory they have won will not be abrogated, will not be taken away from them. And he will ensure that. And he is ensuring that. That is what is important.
Is it possible that President-elect Barrow could enter the Gambia with foreign troops? Is that a possibility?
Well,
or is it an
President-elect Barrow will absolutely have executive power, and I'm sure will exercise his executive power as he deems fit.
So he could invite in foreign troops, theoretically?
Well, I will not want to go into theories. I'm just simply saying...
No,
yes.
no, I'm trying to establish whether that is theoretically possible, not whether he will theoretically do it, whether it is possible.
Well, I'm just simply saying that listening to the UN Security Council, listening to ECOWAS, etc., I think these are issues that the incumbent is fully aware, and maybe he knows more than we do, and that is maybe why he came up with a declaration of state of emergency, that a state of emergency may arise. So what I can tell you, evidently, is that President-elect Barrow left here with the ECOWAS mediation team. So there is nothing that will happen that that team would not know and that would not have acquiesced to. So I'm simply saying that is the reality we are confronting, even if we don't know the details.
Do you know if the incumbent is still in town? If he is not, are there any plans for you to stop these invaders coming in?
Well, it is important to bear in mind that President-elect Barrow is yet to be the President of the Republic of the Gambia. So by today now, President Jammeh's term expires.
Is he here in Gambia right now as we speak?
Well,
do you know?
Well, what is important at this material moment is to know that still there are visiting heads of states coming in the Gambia, probably to also add their voice.
Which ones?
Well, I'm not privy to saying the individual.
We hear Mauritania.
Well, it's like you are giving me information. So I think everybody has heard you. So there is information coming from the media that they are fully aware that the president of Mauritania is here. So I would assume that the president of whatever president is here would actually visit an empty state house.
If he leaves before midnight, will anything change in your plans, the coalition?
Well, obviously, that will lead whoever may have asked any negotiator to negotiate would definitely be able to inform President-elect Barrow that some developments have taken place. Why don't we do this and that and that? And I'm sure President-elect Barrow will inform us that we can go ahead with our plans at the stadium. And this 1,000 transports will be rolling from every part of the country towards the stadium, and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people will be joyously commemorating the inauguration of a new president elected as a result of the power of the people for the first time in Gambian history, a peaceful transfer of power. That's the history that we want to write.
So,
Yes,
we were discussing with the information minister, Mr. Antonio, and the forward. What were you discussing with him?
Well, it seems you have new information that you are informing me. All I know is that we were engaged in a discussion. The people who were involved, I don't think your information is right in that respect, and I would not want wrong information to be passed. Definitely, UN diplomats would not be properly represented, to use their name in this forum. But essentially, there is discussion taking place because of what we have seen and what we want to prevent, and all sides need to continue the discussion until the 19th. And as we have said, even heads of states are still coming. So every person who has goodwill should continue to prevail on the incumbent, to concede to rationality, concede to legality, concede to what is a universally accepted principle, that when you lose elections, you accept defeat and surrender power.
Well, yes, just a simple clarification for followers. Tomorrow, will there be an inauguration at the Independence Stadium?
The clarification is that
answer,
because of, well, I'm giving you a precise answer. It was given. Maybe it escaped you. I've
No,
said
no,
that
it
because
didn't
of
escape me.
Yes, I said that because of the state of emergency.
Yes.
We are saying this 1,000 transport that should have come will not be coming.
Okay.
They have an alternative means of developing their own inauguration committee, and they are working on their own inauguration. President-elect Barrow is the executive. Nobody else has executive power. He has said that his right to be elected and his right to assume office will not be abrogated by any force on this earth. That is very clear. And that he is working on his inauguration, and he has his own inauguration committee working on that. The details they know, the details we do not know, and whenever we have the details, we'll tell you. I think that is very clear. We are saying the supporters should be waiting for the celebration. Whenever he gets to the State House, the date will be given when this national celebration will take place. I think that is very clear.
Yes.
You've asserted the fundamental right of the press to be able to give people a voice. Does that mean that media will be present for the inauguration, which obviously would be the only way we can tell that story to the world?
Well, continue contacting me whenever I have details. I'll be able to give you. And you should also have your correspondence in the other capitals like Dakar, Accra, and Abuja, so as to ask the other heads of states who were supposed to also come to the inauguration. So if I have information, you will get it. But I'm sure the press is very, very resilient, and I'm sure you'll be able to quickly inform each other to be able to get to where the inauguration is taking place. I'm sure, yes.
Yes, we understand the lawyer for APRC is in Dakar right now calling a press conference.
Well, thank you very much for that information. What I can tell you is that many people are leaving. Ambassadors have left, ministers have left. Not only that, people are even starting to leave. But there are Gambians who are still here. That's why we are here. And we feel secure because our conscience is clear that this is our nation. We'll be here until we see the change that the people have made effective. So in short, of course, you will end up having the crumbling of a state institution. Just look at the street. It's like somebody has asked people go on a national strike and let nobody go to work, let nobody go to, open your shop. That is exactly what is happening. What is happening in Gambia is unique. It is the people taking charge. And Gambia is shut down, it's a standstill. That is the reality. And the incumbent should realize that you cannot run a country that is shut down. You cannot run a country where your ministers and ambassadors are disappearing. You cannot run a country where the whole world do not recognize you as the president of the republic. Had people close to him, today, this very minute, they will be initiated and say, the end has come, accept it. You cannot continue. It is impossible to continue. Even if there were no other moves by anybody, no country can operate under such a climate. It is not possible. One must accept the end when it has come. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, but we must translate in Mandinka because our people must know what is happening.
Yes, what do we do? Wait. Well, I think he's paying. Okay. Can we have your numbers, your emails? Emailing list around so that you can get the.
What about those who are already on the email list? I'm already there.
You're already there. That's good. If you're here, there's two
So we have to make ourselves really know. Well, for him, I'm here. That's my duty. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's my mind. Where's the list?
Your number, your name,
Yes.
the organization you work for,
Tomorrow,
so that we can all send something.
leave now. Well, I think, yes, I think we need to ask them. I'm sure this will be And this is likely to be the situation on well, that's one thing. Well, of course, they are also taking moves. So, mediation. What we ask me, what we tell them. The international community is his cabinet is disappearing. They are all resigning. His ambassadors are all resigning. And tomorrow, the bank is inaugurated. And the international community, we know many governments are going to recognize him and no longer recognize Jammeh. Literally, he does not have a government. So we believe that that is what the international community should know. That Gambia is in a situation where the existing government is really incapable and will continue to be incapable of governing.
The mediation process that happened today, did that yield any results?
Well, it's just simple discussion taking place. It's not really mediation per se. It's discussion to reach an understanding of the state of the country and what needs to be done to save the country.